Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for making time for us today. We appreciate it.
Always good to be with you, Andrea.
We're told that there is potentially some very good news, that there is a breakthrough, that we've been close before, but that this time there could be a deal, a ceasefire deal, with the hostages starting to come out within 48 hours of the announcement of a deal. And it could come this week. This is always conditioned on the fact that Hamas, Mohammed Sinwar, could back out of it, but that everyone else is on board. Correct?
Andrea, we are closer than we've ever been. The ball is in Hamas's court, but it's very close. And we are very hopeful that we get it over the finish line, finally, after all this time. We've had Lucy in the football moments before, where the ball gets pulled away at the last minute. You can never exclude that, but as I said, we are closer than we've ever been.
And that the priority would be the same as the president announced in May, and that
This is based on the framework that the president put out in May that we got the whole world to endorse, country after country, the United Nations Security Council. And everyone got behind it. And then finally, back then, Hamas was isolated. It accepted the framework that the president put forward. Ever since then, we've been working on negotiating the final details, everything that has to go into implementation, and time and again, that's been delayed or derailed by some event. But now we're at a point, as I said, where we are closer than we've ever been, and we'll have to see if Hamas can finally say yes.
And I've been told by several sources very close to this that, as we have expected, the injured, the women, the injured, the elderly would come out first. Yeah. And then, of course, the Americans alive and dead.
I can't get into the details. The president, when he put out the framework, made clear that during the first 6 weeks of this agreement, because it's basically a two-step process, a phased deal. The first 6 weeks, the conflict stops, Israel pulls back its forces, a lot of hostages come out, some prisoners are released by Israel, we surge humanitarian assistance, and we also use that time to try to finalize an agreement on an enduring ceasefire. We've done a lot of work on that. We haven't waited to get to the ceasefire itself. We've done a lot of work with Arab partners, with Israel, with others, to try to get an understanding on what would follow, basically a post-conflict plan, so that the vacuum that's there when Hamas is effectively not in charge and Israel pulls out is filled by something that can run Gaza effectively.
And a very important part of this, by your initiative, is that simultaneously Steve Witkoff, the envoy from President-elect Trump, has been there for the last 3 days working with Brett McGurk, the White House envoy.
That's right.
That they have been full partners in this. I am told by U.S. officials very close to it that he has been very helpful on a couple of key issues, and the Israelis are on board, and it's now up to Hamas.
Yeah, I think Steve Witkoff has been a terrific partner in this, and also President-elect Trump in making clear that he wants to see this deal go forward and go forward before January 20th. And of course, everyone wants to know, and it's very useful as well to have Steve a part of this. They want to make sure that the deal that the president's put on the table and that we've negotiated, the Trump administration will continue to back. So creating that confidence by having Steve Witkoff's participation, I think has been critical. But this has been a very good partnership, and we hope that together we get this over the goal line.
Now, with Hezbollah all but destroyed, with Hamas and the war potentially over in Gaza, with Syria, the regime now gone, isn't Iran appreciably weakened without its proxies? And what is your expectation about what Israel might do next?
Yeah, this is a dramatically transformed Middle East for all the reasons you've said. And it has put Iran on its back feet in ways that we haven't seen before. It's lost its best proxies in Hamas and Hezbollah. It no longer has Syria and Assad. And as a result, I think there's an opportunity to transform what's happened, and also to have something that deals with the fact that what's happened in the last couple of years has come at terrible human cost, to actually get to a broader transformation of the Middle East.
But let me interrupt you to ask, since you yourself have said that Iran is a week away from having enough fissile material to theoretically build a weapon. They don't have weaponization yet, but they're reaching a red line, an Israeli red line. The Israelis see this as an existential threat to their existence. What would stop Israel now from going in and taking out the nuclear program? They've already taken out critical air defenses.
So yes, Iran is at a point where, in terms of the fissile material necessary for a nuclear weapon, it could upgrade that material to bomb grade quality in a matter of a week or two. But as you said, it still also has to develop a weapon itself, and that would take a lot longer. Look, Iran's going to be faced with decisions of its own of how it wants to move forward. But I think the incoming administration would have an opportunity, precisely because Iran's on its back feet. It's suffering economically in a terrible way. Its people, I think, are disputing so much of what the regime has done, particularly in meddling in the affairs of other countries throughout the region. This is a moment of opportunity, and maybe a moment of opportunity to resolve in an enduring way the nuclear challenge posed by Iran, but also the actions that Iran takes throughout the region. It's also a moment of opportunity if we can get an enduring ceasefire in Gaza, and if there can be some greater agreement on a pathway forward for Palestinians to realize their political rights. A moment of genuine integration in the region where Israel normalizes its relations with everyone, including Saudi Arabia. It's integrated into a regional security architecture that further marginalizes and isolates Iran and betters the lives of people throughout the region. There is a huge opportunity here, and everything that we've been able to set in motion or support in the last couple of years has moved us to this point.
Why shouldn't Israel take out the nuclear program once and for all?
You have to look at what would be enduring and what would make sure that the program doesn't come back. So one of the things you have to assess is, if that were to happen, would Iran simply rebuild and rebuild even deeper underground in a place that would be even harder to get to? You want to make sure that whatever you do, and everyone is determined that Iran not have a nuclear weapon, starting with President Biden, but you want to do that in a way that's enduring.